the homeowner isn't contacting the subcontractor.
No.
They have no way of getting a hold. They're contacting me. They're gonna when they forgot to do the flashing on the chimney, and the water's pouring in the kitchen, okay, and ruining all the drywall and everything else. Like, they're not going after the sub. They're going after
Oh,
me,
okay.
and my insurance is going to have to kick in. Now
Yep.
I'll go after my sub,
Yep.
okay, with a tight grip, a tight throat hug, and bring them back to fix that stuff. But that'll be up to me, right? Welcome to the Sharpen the Spear podcast, where we help home service pros cut through the noise, sharpen their business tools, and reclaim the profit, freedom, and impact they've been missing. I'm your host, Richard Walsh, Profit Freedom Coach, and I'm here to help you stop grinding and start growing. Let's sharpen the spear. And we are back on STS Sharpen the Spear podcast with another incredible guest. I've got Phil Garcia with us today. And Phil, as we always do on STS, no one knows Phil better than Phil. So Phil, give us the backstory, bring us up to speed, and we'll get into the conversation.
All right. Yeah. So, like, my name's Phil Garcia. So I have an insurance agency here in Granville, Michigan. And I've been doing insurance now for 23 years, and opened up the agency about 8 years ago. And really what our focus, our main line of business is commercial insurance, and we specialize in working with contractors. And so we've been I've been doing that here for probably about 4 or 5 years is really when we shift to really concentrate working with contractors, knowing the risk, the type of coverage. And we enjoy it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's one of those things we can talk about, commercial insurance, business insurance, and from the contractor standpoint. I know I had to deal with that for, 20 plus years as well. 30 some years, a long time. And, you start to really look at that. I kind of want to dive into that because there's options, and there's good options and bad options, right? A lot of people who aren't really specializing in this, I've found, Phil, and you can kind of add to this, really searching out quality commercial insurance for your business can be a little bit dicey.
Oh, yeah. We hear that quite often.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit, because people go in, and we don't have to get into the actual nuts and bolts, like, hey, you got to have this and this and this, but really maybe a high view of what people are looking for, as a GC, a general contractor, or you're a subcontractor, right? So you're doing the actual work, right? Like, I always had subs for my roofing company, right? Now, no one wants to pay that workers' comp.
Oh, yeah.
It's the fourth most dangerous job in the country, so that gets pricey. So there's a lot of things that we learned as I'll call myself a GC, using the subs just to avoid that payment. If I had the in-house crew, that workers' comp is brutal, just brutal.
Oh, yeah. Yep. No, I hear you. And we have some roofing companies here at the agency, and sometimes they'll come in, and we have various risks, from like the general contractors to roofers, painting contractors, all different contractors. But like you said, the roofing companies, you really have to be careful. Otherwise, I've had a roofing company come in, and they were a subcontractor, but then they were subbing out their work, and the agent that they had prior didn't really explain all that was going to be needed at the audit. And they came, and we took a look at it. They were pretty upset because they got a bill for $50,000 from their audit, because they didn't obtain the proper documentation from their subs. So we like to review that with our clients, so they're not don't get shocked or sticker shocked, right, when they receive that bill for 50,000 or 10,000, and they want it up front in 30 days. So we see that quite often,
and it'll put you out of business.
Yeah,
you'll kind of be done. So it's it's funny, because you get rolling, right? You're working hard doing everything else, and just like that, you got a sub now hiring subs. Okay. And they don't ask those subs, the hiring the subs, not asking them for the workers' comp, right? So they don't have it. They think it's blanketed under them because
Exactly.
they have it, right? But this other company is another company. They're 1099. So they're completely separate, right? And they kind of don't get that because they want the work and they're doing the work and all that stuff. And like you said, you get a bill like that, the whole season's profit just went in the toilet, because
Yeah, exactly. And what we try to also explain about that is just because they're hiring folks that are 1099 doesn't mean that they're going to be exempt from the workers' comp in case something does happen, or when audit comes, then they're going to want to see the proof that they really are 1099 and where's their insurance. So
yeah, I don't know if you can speak to this or not, but I know in the case of insurance and some other things, 1099, and sometimes it depends on the state,
yeah.
the community. Like a lot of these guys are 1099, okay, but they only work for one contractor.
Oh yes, we see
Okay,
that all.
so and does that become an issue?
It does, especially once they really start to, come audit time and they're asking a lot of different questions, and they're like, well, but that sub or that 1099, he only works for you. So what's going on? He's really now should be considered an employee, not a
Exactly.
subcontractor. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
so
that
it's
is a
dicey.
fine line to walk. Yeah, it's a fine line to walk, and I see it in all the industries, not just roofing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the industry. Everyone wants a 1099. Just pay them and handle the taxes. I don't have to pay payroll tax. I don't have to do this. I don't do that. It's really convenient. Okay, for the for the GC or the owner, but it also comes back to the general liability that the GC has to have, because I guarantee you, I'll give you an example. You do a roof and there's a problem with the roof, right? Which has
Yep.
happened. Well, it's all happened to us if we've been in the business any amount of time. Well, the homeowner isn't contacting the subcontractor.
No.
They have no way of getting a hold. They're contacting me. They're gonna when they forgot to do the flashing on the chimney and the water's pouring in the kitchen, okay, and ruining all the drywall and everything else. Like, they're not going after the sub. They're going after
Oh,
me, and my insurance is going to have to kick in. Now
yep.
I'll go after my sub,
Yes.
okay, with a tight grip, a tight throat hug, and bring him back to fix that stuff. But that'll be up to me, right? But I have to have my own general liability to be able to cover that output, right?
Yeah, well, exactly. So we work with a flooring company, and they send a lot of their subcontractors to us. And what I reviewed some of the policies that they had prior, and yeah, they would be definitely held responsible in case something did happen. They break something while they're installing flooring. But when we review that, we make sure to add some endorsements to the policies to make the blanket additional insured. So if they get, the homeowner is definitely going to go after them. But once they add that additional insured endorsement, then they're going to be able to go through the subcontractor's insurance. So we just want to make sure when we're doing all that, we just don't sell the on price. We try to definitely, give the right coverage, because you don't want, that's one of the worst things is, well, it would have been covered, but you didn't have this certain endorsement. And then they come back to us and why didn't you recommend it, or why didn't you add it? So,
Right. And there's probably that I did, you said no.
yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
there's that. Remember you said no. You don't
yeah,
want to pay that money, So insurance, as I always tell people, is a transfer of risk. That's what insurance is, right? So
exactly.
no one likes insurance, Phil. No one they like it when they need it, but in the 5 years before they need it, or 20 years, they don't like it. Okay, they're just
Yeah.
paying this thing, right? We get it, but I had to change my own mindset on that, because the guy taught me it's transfer of risk. Every time you're able to do that, transfer that hit to an insurance company, right, who's going to handle that. That's peace of mind for you. That's maintaining your operational capital, right? It's all the
Exactly.
stuff and the headaches and the legality of everything, doing all that kind of stuff. It's a really important thing. So you got to kind of embrace it. But at the same time, as I've learned, you got to shop.
Yeah.
You're still looking for value, but one of the big tricks is the apples to apples, the comparisons,
Exactly.
right? So like when you come to a professional like you, like, are you saying, well, you got to bring your policy and then I'll match your policy. Then we'll have the same stuff. Then I'll give you a price. I can't tell you what I could give you. You know, let's see what you have. You know, I have to have something to compare it to, right? Isn't that the kind of the
Yep.
whole idea? They give them, and it's a great way for you to find out what they don't have
Yep.
and they
Yep.
should have.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, we try and match that, or also give recommendations. You don't have this. We really should add that. And many times we do add some or recommend adding some coverage, and we do, and still able to save our clients some money. We'll shop it through all our carriers that we have, and try to match that to give them at least what they have or better coverage. At a good rate. So.
Yeah, is the commercial insurance, and I'm going to use it's kind of a generalization term. Is kind of limited in the access to it? It's not like everybody carries commercial insurance or offers commercial insurance, I should say. It seems to be a lot of times and this is my own ignorance. Okay, just it seems to be down to just a couple of companies.
Yeah, yep. It definitely depending on, not all insurance agencies, right? They specialize in commercial insurance. So some agencies will have a few options. We have about 7 or 8 different companies that we work with. So we're able to really shop that on that. But I mean, it's a little bit harder when you're talking about a roofing company. Definitely fewer options out there.
Yeah.
So that's when it becomes more difficult on the higher risk construction companies like demolition and roofing and things like that. Yeah, it does make it more challenging.
But for like general contractors, let's go with that. You know, just so you're the GC, you're managing the project, a lot of subs on the job and everything else. That isn't an incredible. That's not a big ask. You know, that's a standard thing, right?
Correct. Yep. That one would fall probably right in the middle. Because with the general contractors, what some of the insurance companies, they'll limit the exposure to like 25%. Subbing, some will go 50, and we have a couple that will do all 100% pretty much subcontractors. So we definitely have more options. Probably, but not as many options like if the company was like a drywaller that didn't have subs. So
right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's good to know. So just for the audience, because we've got everything, all the trades, the service, we've got GCs, we got HVAC companies, we got plumbing companies, and we got everything, right? So they're all kind of their own entity, and primarily they do. I shouldn't say primarily. They'll do a lot of sub work, but they're also doing retail, right? They're in people's homes. They're doing that kind of stuff all the time for people, repairs, new furnaces, things like that. So you've got that kind of stuff. So you can kind of run the gamut, as far as application and what they're doing. And usually it's split. They've got some sub working for builders and remodelers and things like that. Then they've got, Mrs. Jones and the toilet's backed up. It's got to go there. So they got kind of the whole thing, So is there, when they're in someone else's residence, this is just a question I just came to my head.
Sure.
Is that one of the parameters you're looking at and say, okay, well, you're in other people's homes often, new construction or remodel, you're basically, hey, we're building a new home. There's no one living there yet, right? We're putting this stuff on, or we're on the roof or whatever the case. So I'm just wondering, is there variables inside of that, or is it pretty much, a moot point?
No, definitely when we're intaking that, the insurance company definitely does look at what, if the home is occupied, not occupied, and how many homes are you doing in residential? Is it like more than 5, different homes in that same neighborhood? So yeah, that definitely takes into play what percentages new construction to remodel to repair. So yeah, I mean, they look at those factors as well. Definitely.
Good. I just, the best thing to be able to do as a contractor, in my eyes, is to go with as much knowledge as you can, to
Yeah.
like understand options, but like what, when they're going to ask these questions, like specifically what you do, it's great to kind of have to know.
Yeah.
Sometimes like I do plumbing wherever, whenever. Well,
Yeah.
that's not gonna help you get the right policy. Okay, so it's sometimes when people ask that kind of stuff, like, well, some people have a niche.
Yeah.
There's a company down in Florida. What they did? Kitchen
What's-
sinks, kitchen sinks. That's all they did.
Oh,
They're the
wow.
kitchen sink company. That's it. I mean, they'd be like $3,000,
Yeah.
whatever. But it's a kitchen sink, and that's all they did. So
Oh,
you talk about they don't do anything else, just kitchen
yeah.
sinks. I'm like, I really like that model. I really
Yeah.
like that model. Just you can be the greatest kitchen sink person in the world. It'll be amazing, and you don't have to worry about anything else. I like that business. But there's one individual like, well, this is what we do, but we're inside someone's home, right? We're working in the kitchen, we're doing whatever. I mean, there's I'm air quoting construction going on, right? You're
Yeah.
taking the old one out, putting a new one in, you're fitting, maybe there's, maybe you got a counter company that's going to tie it in or whatever it's going to be. But yeah, just interesting stuff. There's a lot of variables in construction. I think that people may have questions from the insurance standpoint is as you mentioned earlier, I think the challenge is what is the right coverage?
Exactly. What, because that's yeah, part of the game. It's like a challenge trying to piece everything together, make sure we have the right coverage. And also we want to make sure we're classifying the business correctly, because we don't want it where someone's going to tell us that they do siding and then come to find out that they're doing roofing, and the policy, a lot of the policies are going to exclude anything with roofing. So yeah, it's we just want to
Yeah.
try to get as much information at the beginning and
Yeah.
make it classify it right.
Yeah. A lot of contracts. I know we did roofing, siding, windows,
Yep.
so it's a mixed bag right there. It may not seem like, well, like it's versus the roof,
Yeah.
and, that's, I remember, I think it's Home Depot. It was Home Depot and Lowe's, I think. They wouldn't even let their people on the roof. Like they measured from the ground.
Oh,
Like you got Eagle View and you could do all
yeah.
that stuff now, but they would just tape the house and then calculate the square footage. They wouldn't let their people go up on the roof, not even on the ladder. Like,
Oh,
I
wow.
got to like check
Yeah.
layers because that's how dangerous it was. So you
Yeah.
talk about like they're going, nope, no one's allowed on the roof. The estimators, guys going out to sell and everything else, which is an odd thing because most of us get up there and we look at the damage, we locate it, we walk the roof, things like that, but now they have drones that do every square inch of the roof. You send them up, they program, they go back and forth, they photograph and view everything, every hail hit, everything you can imagine, and it's all uploaded to the cloud, creates a report. It's fascinating.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm telling you,
That's
anytime you
cool.
don't have to step on that roof is a
Yeah.
good day.
Yeah.
It's a really good day. It takes one header off that thing and you're done, maybe forever. And I've seen it happen. I had and we have to add a story, Phil. Okay, I
Yeah.
got to throw in a story. Had a guy, he's 72, doing flat roofing, right? Been doing it for 50 years or more. Doing a garage, flat roof, got the ladder, on the driveway, goes up there, it's coming down, ladder falls, he's on the concrete, done, dead.
Oh,
Okay. So a couple questions would be for me, for my first one was, why are you 72 still doing this?
yeah.
That'd be my first question by yourself, So there's all that opens a whole nother can of worms we won't even get into, but the same principle, right? How dangerous these things can be,
Yeah.
And as an operator, I think this is important too. And whether you offer this or it's just something you'd have send them somewhere else to get that the next is the life insurance stuff, right? You're working in dangerous situations. You're on second, third story roofs. You're on ladders. You're on 20, 30-foot ladders, doing all this kind of stuff. And just from the insurance standpoint, again, transfer your risk, man, what are you getting for your own personal injury, right? Is that something you guys deal with, or is that something you recommend and refer them? Do they even talk about that when they're coming and looking for their business insurance?
Yeah, we do. We do also do life insurance, and we do talk with our, clients to definitely try to fully protect them. Yeah, and another quick story is that we did have a framer and they fell, and their medical bill was $500,000. So
Yeah.
even framing is, there's some people don't really realize the potential risk or even an accident policy. for someone, doing framing and roofing and, a little more dangerous. So definitely.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those, hate to say it, it's not a if, it's a when,
Yeah.
over time. And I'll give you an example. We got a lot of construction going on in our downtown here, right? So they're redoing all this stuff and there's scaffolds and there's guys working. And here's an observation for all my tradespeople. Okay. As I drive by every day and you got a big company, everyone working, you can't find there's not one person under 40 years old working.
Oh,
That's where the trades are now. Where you don't have a
yeah.
lot of young up. No one. They're 40, 50, climbing, carrying stuff, building like it's. And I'm not. And I'm just. This is the blanket statement. They're not the fittest guys in the world. Now they
Yeah.
can do this work all day. Don't get me wrong, but there's health aspects here too. I mean, our whole country suffers from that. But I'm just saying, like, I'm looking at the age of these guys, as they're working, and we're always trying to encourage and doing a lot of stuff to get young people into the trades and service. But when you see that too, that's another factor, and as from on your side as a salesman, I don't know what kind of pushback you get. I mean, we're men normally, right? In the trades, and we're just fine. I don't need a doctor. Okay, we all get it. I suffer from that same disease. Okay, I don't need a doctor. I don't need a doctor of disease. But like, is that kind of a tough sell for them, or are they kind of like coming to the realization they're just not as quick and agile as they used to be? And climbing
Yeah.
stuff and balancing on 2x4s and whatever. So it's
Yeah. No. Yeah. Unfortunately, we see a lot of people. Yeah, I'm good. I'm all right. I don't need that. And, you know, we we just want to bring it up and recommend it, and it's ultimately their choice, and at least we have some peace of mind knowing that we offered it. But yeah, it is a tough sale. Nothing's happened to me. I've been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years, and so I'm good. So
yeah,
that's probably what we hear a lot.
yeah. It's it'd probably be more of a sales conversation from your end. Like, how do you actually get them to wake up to that? And like I said, I start with the transfer of risk.
Yeah.
I go, well, that's good. You don't need it. It's not you I'm worried about. It's your family.
Yeah.
So that's what I say to guys. Man, I don't care about you. I care about your family. Okay,
Yeah.
you can take it. I want them covered. How are you going to feel? Well, you won't because you'll be checked out. But like, way to go, Dad. You didn't take care of the family. You're up there
Yeah.
doing this high risk stuff, and you're not doing that. So I kind of I kind of shame them a little bit. I don't sell insurance, so I can say whatever I want. Okay, but I recommend to them, like, dude, this ain't about you.
Yep.
This,
Exactly.
this this is about, and a business owner, same thing. This ain't about you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
when you're talking about it, this has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Okay, this is your family, those right into your employees. Guys been
Yeah.
working with you 10 years, 15 years, all this kind of stuff, man. They're kind of like family. If they stay
Exactly.
with you all that time, you must not be a bad guy or girl,
Yeah.
right? But you're not looking out for them either.
Yeah.
Is this business that's a shutdown tomorrow because you have no way to sustain it if you get seriously injured or whatever that takes you out of the game, then what? Right? Thing doesn't operate. So we see that often, a lot of clients I work with and stuff too. And I think when you have that sober conversation, they kind of get it, you
Yeah.
know, and then again, I don't know insurance and selling, but like, if you could get their toe in the water, get them something, and then later you can kind of, okay, let's talk about this again. You got a little bit, but what's this really going to cost if you are taken out for 6 months or a year, or
Exactly.
right? Like, trying to walk through that with guys. And we're not here to sell insurance, everybody. That's not what I'm doing. But I'm just saying, like, I just know the importance of it because I've seen guys, like, another story. There's a guy bragging. He owns a roofing company. His guys are having lunch or sitting down in the grass eating their lunch, right? Ladders up against the thing. Shingles are there. He's gonna load the roof himself. Two bundles
Oh.
at a time. He goes, I up and down the ladder while they're eating lunch. I stacked the whole ridge. I got the whole roof loaded. And I'm like, yeah, way to go, tough guy. And when you take a header off that roof, break your back,
Oh.
whatever, and you can't work, you know where those four guys are going who are eating their lunch? To the next company that's going to be able to put them to work. That's it, because your job is to be out getting more work, not
Yep.
showing that you got an ego and you're a tough guy and you're carrying stuff up at two bundles at a time. But who cares? No one
Yep.
but you. Like, dude, you get, and they're like,
Yeah.
they want to punch me, but I'm like, come on, man, let's be real.
Yep.
Like, that's not your job anymore. Yeah, you were great at roofing at one time. You own a company now. You see those four guys eating lunch? You owe it to their family not to be up there, to be out getting them more work so they can go from one job to the next, no break, make that money, make it so they can operate safely and well and take care of them. That you just demonstrated like all the wrong things.
Yep.
You're
Yeah.
carrying bundles up, 2 bundles at a time up a ladder. Get a ladder vader. You go down there, it takes it right up there. What do you? You're just breaking your guys down, right? So you get into the whole thing, but it's an interesting thing when we see this kind of mindset to tie
Yeah.
it back into insurance. They're just these tough guys, and I get it. We are, man. We're hardened, man. We work. I mean, I get it, But man, someone needs those sober conversations when they're talking about protecting their business, protecting their families, protecting their employees. It's a big deal.
It is. It is. It's impacts there's some, impacts family, their employees. Yeah, there's a lot that to protect.
And it's interesting when you look at the large construction companies. Okay. So a lot of guys are, they're 5-man, 7-man, 10-man, smaller stuff. And they look at the big companies that have, well, maybe hundreds, right? People working for 1,000. And like, well, see, that's them. They can do that. No, it's not they can do. They understand. Okay.
Well,
they understand it's at a way bigger level than you do, but there's no difference between you and 5 guys and them and 300.
exactly.
The purpose is the same. Like, do
Yeah.
you ever want to get to that position? Maybe you don't. That's okay. But like, you got to build these habits now. You have to have these protections in place now, or you'll basically never get off the starting line. To real expansion, to real growth and scale. If that's something you want to do, but even if it's not, just to maintain, a good crew, like you have to have these protections in place.
Yep. Exactly. Well said. Yeah.
So yeah, I should be selling insurance. But it really is. I love the whole concept, Phil, of transfer of risk. Okay, because let's jump into real quick about like some like real I think I hit some benefits, obviously,
Yep.
right? Like little things, but like in general, let's kind of. Did I miss any? Because I got some stuff, but like, do you ever talk about like what's the actual benefit of having insurance? Like here's what it does, but what is it? How does it benefit you?
Yeah. No, we definitely, depending on, on the circumstance, we talk about, how it can benefit. And we also talk a little bit about to try to have them understand some scenarios of what could potentially happen. And because you had the right coverage and the right limits, in that case, you would be fully protected. And if you had someone that gave you less coverage, then you would be stuck with that bill. We had someone like a drywaller. They were trying to drill nails and they hit a pipe in an apartment building, and they caused like $700,000 of damage. So we usually sell our policies at least $1 million, but I've seen a lot of people come in and their policy is like 300,000. So I give them that example. I said, you would have to come up with $400,000 in that certain circumstance. So yeah, we like to give some examples of what we're trying to protect and what could happen if they didn't have the coverage.
I was always $1 million per incident.
Yes.
Like, I'm like, I never had to use any. Okay. Like definitely not $1 million, but I'm like, careful. But like, you kind of get to that point where, and that's why you have to really walk it out. I mean, and 700 grand today is nothing. Sadly. Okay. That's like, like, man, that's, like you said, it's drywall, floor damage, whatever. And that stuff goes up really quick. But well, I was like, when guys like the benefits as they go through this and having that, my biggest one, like I tell them, is that you may not feel it right now, but that peace of mind, knowing you can operate. Now, you don't want just turning guys loose to be stupid on a job site, don't care, right? You want to train, you want to be safe, careful, and really good at what they do. But man, it only takes just the court costs. Okay.
Alone,
When
yeah.
you're trying, like, you got to come up with 400 grand.
Yep.
Okay, you're going to be in court. Okay. Because you're probably not going to have 400 grand sitting around. Okay. And those are going to be legal issues and everything else you're going to have to deal with. But for me, again, having that and I think today, I think more than ever, Phil, I think consumers are a lot more savvy when they're dealing with contractors because now you have kind of the world telling you everyone's sharing their horrible story, social media,
Oh, yeah.
everything else. So people they get a little more guard up and they want to see your business license. They want to see your insurance. Now, to that point, okay, I see it. I see the date is current. Let me call the
Yeah.
company.
Yeah. We're starting to get more
Okay.
calls.
Right? Because they're like that just because that says it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. The policy's in effect. If I don't make my policy payment, I don't have a policy, regardless if
Yeah.
it says, November 27th, 2026, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not, you're not paying. So you actually have to have that due diligence. And more consumers are doing that due diligence
Yeah.
and if you're a consumer listening, like, you need to, because now you're at risk,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Because that
Exactly.
damage, they don't have insurance. What are you going to do? Now you get your own homeowners insurance and whatever, but I'm saying that's going to hurt
Yep.
right now.
No,
Now
exactly.
I would imagine your insurance company will go after the contractor for
Yeah.
not having insurance, but they'll deal with that. But you don't have to, but because you have insurance for your home, so it's the two-way street, right? You got to have yours and they got to have theirs. But yeah, that's a big thing. I have my contractors do is we're legit. Here's this. Here's a current thing. Here's the number of the insurance company. Like, give it to them. Like, be totally
Exactly.
transparent here. Feel free to call my agent. Phil's amazing. Just give him a call. He'll tell you we're up to date and everything else. Please be sure you do that.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Boy, their guard goes down.
Yeah.
And because they know you're squared away. And you should know you're squared away, right? So you're good with that kind of stuff. So those
Oh,
are
yeah.
just little cautionary things, right? From a contractor standpoint, like, you got to be legit. It's kind of important.
Yeah, like you said, we get calls now from residential folks, that they're working on their house. Years ago we never had that, but now we're getting calls, and we're getting more calls from contractors before they hire their subs. Hey, can you verify that this coverage is still valid? And but yeah, a couple of times I was like, no, that was canceled like 5 months ago.
Yeah.
Ah,
So which brings up a good point too about subcontractor agreements.
yeah,
Okay, because we're going to hire a sub. A lot of my contracts, we do a subcontractor agreement for the year. Okay, so we set a price. We do that kind of stuff, and things can vary, but like all that stuff has to be in order, right? So like, okay, great, we sign it off for the year. They present their insurance, they've got everything. But then for my clients, as whether it's the GC or whatever it is, it's like we build in like every 3 months, we call and confirm the insurance.
yeah, that's
It's like
good.
not every month, but like every 3 months, just is a quick phone call. It's just on the to-do list, right? Part of the job function of the office manager. We just verify,
Yep.
and you'd be surprised. You wouldn't be surprised, but but you'll be surprised. Like, it's not current, and you got to
Yeah.
make a really quick phone call, and they're probably on your job site when you find out. And say, dude, we'll take care of this ASAP. Like, you got to stop working and go take care of this, and you can't
Yeah,
come back
just
until you do.
quick call, quick email, and we're like, yep,
Yeah.
verify it, or they haven't had coverage in a year. They're like, what?
Yeah.
Or
Yep.
yeah, so
Because here's what's going to happen to everybody. You know that. Let's take the nail in the pipe. Let's take as a fitting. I had a contractor did a fitting behind a wall, right? A laundry room, and put that back up. Everything else, well, that started leaking slowly.
ooh,
It's all closed in. You
yeah,
don't know till 6 months later, a year later, all of a sudden the whole floor under, like you said, all of a sudden you have 25, 30 grand worth of damage, $40,000. And they're going, who did this? Well, was it
yeah,
me or is it a defective pipe? And you got all that, right? Did you take pictures? Did you, like I always tell people, you photograph everything before you close up the wall.
yeah,
Everything. So that's another form of insurance. Okay. And there's no excuse today with these silly things. Okay. These
yeah,
phones. We can take pictures all day long, doesn't cost you a dime. So just take pictures all the time, put them in the CRM with the client. So you got a picture of everything. Because man, you know how many times that kind of stuff happens?
Oh,
especially
yeah.
remodels, and it could be down the line. You never touched it, but that went, but all of a sudden you're to blame for it
Yeah.
because you opened
Yeah.
up the wall. So it's a common occurrence, but I think those are some of the little things like the pictures and stuff. This is insurance. Take it, load it up into their CRM so they have it with their client. Excellent. You may never have to use
Exactly.
it, but 6 months later, hey, they're gonna call you on warranty, right? And
Yeah.
whatever it's going to be, and you got to handle this stuff. And if it's a big number like 20, 30, $40,000, you don't want to pay that out of your pocket.
No,
Right?
exactly.
They'll
Exactly.
adjust it
So
with insurance.
yeah, a lot of those claims, they don't happen right away. They're months down the line.
That's
So
right. That's right.
yeah.
I mean, and then listen, if my contractor listening, you all know that's the case.
Yeah.
You don't see the problem right away. It's going to happen during use, heavy
Yeah.
rains and whatever it is, right? You got the elements and you got everything else that's going to happen and stuff in there. Freeze thaw and it was on the outside wall and it never gets that cold here and it drops and you get a buzz in the whole thing, right? So we could do scenarios all day long, but I just love the fact that again, embracing what insurance is, okay, to protect your business, your family, your life, right? Overall, like I think to me, that's the big takeaway. Whenever I talk about insurance with my clients, why I want them to have it for their business because we're growing something, we're
Yeah.
building a business. Like, dude, you can't work all these years building this and let it go away with one lawsuit,
Yeah.
with one bed, like
Just
it's
6-1.
gone. It just everything vanishes and you're nothing. You're on the street.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, it's insurance has to be thought of as an investment. I have no way to say it. I get it. I guess technically it's a liability, okay, because you're paying, but it's truly an investment. It's an investment in your future.
Yeah.
The sustainability of your company and everything else, man, it matters because we talk a lot, Phil, about profit, right? Real net profit. What are you actually keeping? A 20,000, a 40,000, a 100, a $300,000 hit. That'll set you back years in profit.
Yeah.
Years to get that. I mean, if you ever do.
Yeah.
So I mean, I hope I'm done now playing the scare game. Okay. But I'm just saying, I think we need to, I just think this conversation needed to be had. That's why I wanted you on here to kind of give your professional view because I think guys just don't think about it.
Yep.
There's running and it's great. I love it, man. Get things done. Get out and do and build and do all your great stuff, but just take that time. And my last thing that I learned decades ago, and I've shared this story before, I'm going to share it with you. I had my insurance, had the same guy for years, and I was paying about almost 24,000 a year in my insurance, right? And I had trucks and all that kind of stuff. Okay, great. And I had a friend had a landscape business. I did custom water features and all sort of stuff. But he's like, his insurance guy was over one day at the yard. We rented this big yard. He's like, hey, Richard, can I, let me run your numbers, man. Let's see what I can do. Like, I'm good, man. My guy is awesome. He's taking care of me, man. It's all good. Okay. All right. Well, I'm happy to do it. I go, okay, yeah, I got it. This went on for like almost 3 years. Him asking me, right? Finally, I go, okay, man, you wore me down. Go ahead and do it. Okay.
Yeah.
He comes back, apples to apples, Phil. It was like $6,700.
Oh, wow.
Apples. And went, are you kidding me? He goes, I've been telling you. He goes, like, you gotta shop. He goes, you gotta shop at least every 2 years. Just go get other, might be great. You give your guy opportunity to match or whatever. But like that was a huge number.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, I was kind of angry. I was not loving my insurance agent, because I just figured that they're not, and this is a dig against you or anything else, but I'm like, they're kind of not looking out for you.
Yeah.
They are, but they're not. You know what I'm saying? Like this is the number. If you don't ask, well, hey, they don't do anything about it. But that's one of those stories I was like, man, I could have used that like 40 grand.
Yeah.
That would have been okay for the bottom line, but that's my own, like my ignoring insurance. I got it. I'm good.
Yeah.
But you're not. It's like everything else. You check prices on your timber. You check prices on your parts. You're buying bin loads of parts, plumbing. Like you check price on those, right? Well, it's the same principle, right? And this coverage is important, and it can vary in like that example. It's a big variance, but so I don't, I just want to throw that out there. I'm sure you run into that as well. And it's important, even if guys, I don't know if you do that with other guys, have like, let me just compare.
Yep, yep. It was a quick story. We quoted a company and we came back and we were like half the price, and he was like, "What what aren't you giving me?" I
Right.
was like, "What do you mean?" And I showed. He's like, "I've been paying that much for the past
Hmm.
3, 4 years."
Yep.
He goes, I'm glad that I finally had my policy looked at." So
Yeah.
walked away happy, but yeah, that was funny. Like,
After he
what?
took a couple of deep breaths,
Yeah.
like I did, I'm like, oh, kill him. But yeah, it's important, So let's kind of put a bow on this. Any final thoughts on all this stuff? I think ending on shopping your insurance is a great thing. But what are some final takeaways you can give the audience, Phil?
Just yeah, like you said, it's good to have the policy reviewed every couple of years. We want to make sure we have the correct coverage, especially if you're hiring a lot of subcontractors. There's special endorsements that may be needed, and we also like to review your policy yearly because things can change. You may have added a service, or your payroll may have increased or decreased. So yeah, definitely it's good to have your policy reviewed, even with your current agent, to make sure it's up to date and still adequate for what you're doing at now. So,
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I think you need to put it into your operational system
yeah,
as something you do. Whether it's yearly, let's just check the policy. End of a season, we kind of have our busy seasons. So
yep,
like let's see where we're at now. Well, let's get ready for the next season. Here's what we did. Maybe like you said, we added something. Maybe we're doing some whole new, maybe we found a new niche. We're moving into that. What is that covered, or is it completely, you know, unusual? And we need different coverage. So that's really good takeaways. And how can people get in touch with you, Phil? Kind of follow you, or what do they got to do?
they can visit us online, or give us a call at the office. Phone number at the office is 616-606-3502. And our website is www.avalonins.net.
Excellent, excellent. All right, everyone's got that. Phil, thank you for taking the time today to share this. I know it's not the most glamorous subject, but it must be addressed. It's important. It's very, very important. I think we hit all those points. And again, I appreciate your time and your knowledge and your experience bringing it to my audience. And for everyone else, we'll see you on the next STS podcast. Thanks for tuning in to Sharpen the Spear podcast. If today's episode helped you think sharper, act smarter, or see new profit potential, do me a favor. Share it with a fellow home service owner and leave a quick review. Ready to find the profit hiding in your business? Head to sharpenthespearcoaching.com and book your free profit discovery call today. And until next time, keep sharpening.